The Spanish announce table.
Episode 396 of the Spanish announce table, and I am excited. We are inching ever closer to AEW All Out, which we are going to because we are, again, as I stated last week, ballers. So, Tom, besides your ever-increasing anticipation of AEW's All Out, you like that? That was a great line. Besides that, how's things?
Things are great. And Tim, one thing that I don't want to get buried in the lead is we're also going to a live taping or a live to air episode of AEW Rampage on Friday night. So we're going to Rampage and All Out. So I'm very excited about Rampage too, because that's the go home show, right? Go home show is the last, hurrah, Hail Mary, whatever you want to call it, to get you to buy the pay-per-view. So, some crazy shit's going to go down on Rampage. So I'm very excited about the whole situation. Chicago is going to be great. I love Chicago. You've never been to Chicago, correct?
Correct. I have never been to Chicago yet.
I am going to have so much fun showing you the great city of Chicago, the second city, as they call it. It's going to be an awesome time. But before we get to Chicago, we got to get through tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. So, Tim, are you ready for AEW Dynamite Recap Spanish Announce Table episode 396?
Yes.
All right. So it kicks off with CM Punk, who returned to last week, and he comes out and pisses me the hell off. Look here, Punk. I don't know what you're trying to do, because it felt like maybe we're going heel turn, but then it felt towards the end that we're going back to still just saying I'm CM Punk, I love the fans, because you pissed me off, pal. So let's get into it. First off, he says, let's take care of some minor business. And he calls out Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman doesn't come out. So before we dive into more of the details of this promo, we both know that we love Hangman Adam Page. This is a Hangman Adam Page appreciation podcast. There will be no slander on the name.
This is cowboy shit certified.
Over here so get that out of the way right now. So if you're going to get in the comments and you're going to talk some stuff on that, we got 5 fingers across your face. Get the fuck out.
5 across that lip.
5 across that lip. So what did you think about CM Punk calling out Hangman for then Hangman not to come out?
I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
I thought maybe, this is the stall tactic until we get, down the road and get a Moxley. Or even I thought maybe we'll get Moxley being like, no, you don't rematch him. This is us now. And then they're like, and then maybe they make this a triple threat, right? I was getting a little excited. And then the no-show, and I'm like, I mean, it's good heel heat. I mean, Punk's playing the heel here, right?
But is he? Because, I mean, I guess he is, but like, he didn't put down the city. He didn't do traditional heel things. He didn't talk down about the town that they were in. He never said that the people were stupid. He really it felt like took personal shots, like broke kayfabe for a second, and was just taking personal shots at people that, like, I don't know. John Silver, if you follow Twitter, John Silver said Hangman was busy and it showed him eating food and catering. Now, I don't know if that was an actual picture from tonight, but it just felt like CM Punk knows the rundown of the show, right? I'm imagining he knows if Hangman is scheduled to come out, they're going to inform him. To me, it felt like one of two things. First, I thought, okay, maybe they're going to do a triple threat. Hangman wants his rematch. Jon Moxley's the interim champ. I honestly thought, like, to save Moxley and Punk, Hangman would take the pin to whoever wins and becomes the unified champ. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that's the kind of angle we might first go. But then when he doesn't show up and CM Punk says that's not cowboy shit, that's coward shit, I thought to myself, is this a personal, like, do you guys not honestly like each other? Because if we're breaking the fourth wall, the interactions I've seen of Hangman Adam Page in person and online, and the interactions I've heard of CM Punk in person and then what I've seen online, I'm not picking Punk.
Yeah.
I'm not picking Punk. Hangman seems like a legit nice guy and a good guy. Punk, depends on what day you catch him. So we get that part. Then we cut into Jon Moxley. This is where, okay, we're building an angle, right? And he cut some, shoot lines there. And what did you think of the shoot lines? He says that Moxley is the third best guy in his group right now. And that seems to be a theme, alluding to the Shield,
Right.
all of these things. What did you think about that?
I mean, Punk has always been good about like kind of drawing up history and using previous things, and I think that was good. He had some good bursts. Like I was not even calling him like not even the number one John that I'm going to beat in Chicago, right? Like fine. Again, good heel stuff, and it's getting the crowd to be like, "Ooh, snap!" I liked when Moxley's music is going, and he's like, "Oh well, I've got plenty of time." He's just shit healing over the. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna do Snow Angel.
He starts to sing a little bit of the song because he likes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked all of that. Fun. That was fun. And then just the stuff when they were going back and forth. I mean,
well, before they get into it, before they go back and forth, another person that catches a stray from CM Punk is Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
So he talks about Jon Moxley's best friend, Eddie Kingston, and he says he's the third best Eddie I've been in the ring with, and the second best Kingston, alluding to Kofi Kingston, in the latter half of that, and obviously Eddie Guerrero. I wasn't honestly sure of the second Eddie that he was talking about.
Yeah, I don't know who he's.
Eddie Edwards, from Ring of Honor. I don't know, but I don't know the other Eddie. So hashtag tweet the table or put it in the live chat if you know. I couldn't think of that second Eddie, but that was the other person that caught a stray. And again, Tim, as much as this is a Hangman Adam Page appreciation podcast, this is also an Eddie Kingston appreciation podcast.
Yeah, this is a Mad King's, kingdom over here.
Yeah, and you do not put any slander on the name of Eddie Kingston. We have met him. He has been kind to us, and he is nice.
It's the kind of stuff that gets you shanked when you come around Kansas City, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, we'll give you a Kansas City cunt punt. Come around these parts. Tell you what, Eddie Kingston is loved in this area, boy.
Nobody wants a Kansas City cunt punt.
And he's the best wrestler, Eddie Kingston, that is, in the world. I will argue to my dying day that 2022 version of Eddie Kingston is the best pro wrestler in the world. 100% facts.
I'm not arguing.
Now, here's the interesting thing about Eddie Kingston. Hangman Adam Page, being completely honest, I don't know the direction he's going because, again, he said no to the Young Bucks in the Trios tournament. We still haven't had the Dark Order match, so maybe he gets involved there. And I don't think necessarily the next time we see him, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, and by the way, CM Punk, you're a, CM cunt or whatever, right? Like, he's not going to say anything back to CM Punk. Eddie Kingston, though, he has a stream of consciousness. He might just go talking about Sammy Guevara and just run that right back into CM Punk. I'm interested to seeing the next time Eddie Kingston's on our TV because I don't think he's going to let that slide and be like, oh, yeah, he got one over on me.
Eddie Kingston isn't the type where, if you were talking smack about him, he's going to say, hey, I heard you were talking shit.
Yeah.
Like, say it now. Say it right now to my face, partner.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So, now let's get to it. So then, as you mentioned, CM Punk's like, I can do Snow Angels and sing while Jon Moxley walks out. Jon Moxley comes in, and he does pretty good. He's not known for the pipe bomb stuff, but he even says, like, a microphone isn't going to get you any credit with me.
Like, this is the real world. I'm just going to kick your ass or something like that.
We fight it, right? Yeah. Right. And then he says, which I believe is true, from a viewer of AEW since day one, the heart and soul of AEW, in my opinion, could be a handful of people, but one of those people, at least in the conversation, is Jon Moxley. And then CM Punk doesn't even miss a beat and is like, I'm the heart and soul of AEW. He's like, well, I'll be the dollars and cents.
Yeah.
And then Jon Moxley's like, hey, we all know you're here because you're broke.
Yeah. He ran out of money.
Yeah.
Which is great.
CM Punk didn't have a retort for that. He was like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah. Well, I like that Punk, when Moxie's up on him, he's like, hold on. He's like, if you get any closer, I'm afraid you'll bleed on me. That's great.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I think, because Jon Moxley, again, let's not forget, he is also the heavyweight champion for GCW, one of the greatest promotions going right now in the world, in my opinion.
Great.
And this past weekend,
event they just had, yeah.
He wrestled Effie for the world championship. And so we fast forward to Wednesday night, and Jon Moxley maybe pays a little homage to Effie here and gives a good old kiss to CM Punk, and then a right hand to the lip. I like that. So we get a knockdown, drag out brawl. We'll get to it because I know I want to go in chronological order, but we're talking about it, so it feels weird to stop. So then later on in the show, Tony Nese walks out with Smart Mark Sterling, and they're about to do something, but we don't even get to find out because Jon Moxley punches him in the back of the head, taking him out of action, gets into the ring, and is like, Punk, let's do it now. We're going to do it now. We're not waiting for All Out. Punk then walks out without any music, and that's kind of the tell there, is if he's not walking out with Cult of Personality, then it's going to be a pull apart, right? So he comes walking out. Security is following behind him. They go at it again. Claudio and Yuta come out to help separate the thing. There was one spot, and again, the cameras sometimes catch things that we probably shouldn't see, but there's a part there towards the end of the pull apart where Claudio is holding Jon Moxley like a baby, and it's like, you go here. And then
I tried to make that our background, but I couldn't get a good shot of it. It was so fun. I was rolling.
And the commentators tried, like, Claudio is one of the toughest guys in the world. He can do that to anyone. It's like, but like, he shouldn't.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be doing that to Mox right now. You're world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that I found interesting, and this is just peeling back the curtain a little bit, if you pay attention to CM Punk's career, if you watch the DVD, if you follow him online, all the stuff, all the details about him. His trainer is Ace Steel, former NWL tag team champion here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Ace Steel is a agent in AEW. And one thing I noticed is during the pull apart, Moxley and Punk are yelling at each other, and Punk looks right at Ace Steel and is like, we got him. We fucking got him. As if, I don't know if he's like, we got the crowd into this, or I got him riled up. Like, that was my goal. So I thought that was interesting.
I don't know, because, the Ace Steel Punk friendship too is a well-documented long-term. So, interesting. Yeah. I didn't catch that spot. That's fun. I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. So,
before we jump into the next thing, I want to remind everyone, I referenced the backgrounds. And for you podcast listeners, if you're not watching us live, this is Wednesday night. We typically do it Thursday nights, but sometimes Wednesday nights. Just stay tuned to our social medias and you'll know what's happening. But you get a chat with us live, which we're encouraging anybody on the YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Fun fact, you can even watch us live at SpanishAnnounceTable.net. You can do it, you can do it anywhere, everywhere. God damn it. Watch us live, join in the fun, make some new friends, and then listen to the podcast later because, you want to hear the good stuff again.
Exactly. You want to hear our comment on your comment to us. So listen back. Let's get back into AEW here though. We get a backstage promo and we get finally a reason for Powerhouse Hobbs taking out Ricky Starks. And it makes sense. Yes. I actually fully co-signed why Powerhouse Hobbs got mad. Again, it was a heel thing. I'm not saying like everyone in the world should do it. This is a maximum, a rule for society, but Powerhouse Hobbs, it seems to me, turned on him in the moment because Ricky Starks said, I fell, I failed, I've done it before and I'm going to do it again, but that's okay. And that's the trigger for Powerhouse Hobbs to be like,
that ain't okay, motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, so it kind of makes you think Powerhouse Hobbs may be a lunatic, right? Maybe a bit of a schizo if that's just going to set him off for a friend that he had for the last 2 years. He also mentions, hey, I break backs. I also break necks, Ricky. So watch out. And then Cutie and the Factory, I got something for you too. So what do you think is in store for the Factory? What do you think is in store for Ricky Starks? How is Powerhouse Hobbs? What do you think about this kind of blend of the three talents here?
Yeah. So, I mean, Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks is a no-brainer, right? We've got to get that. But I understand if we don't go right away to that. What Powerhouse Hobbs is doing with the Factory is the one that maybe confuses me a little bit because we all like when the Factory gets beat up, right? But I thought we're supposed to not like Hobbs right now.
Right. Yes, I 100. The only thing I can think is that Powerhouse Hobbs, again, being a schizo, maybe that's an element of his character that we're going to learn about, is going to be mad at the factory for even approaching Ricky Starks after Powerhouse Hobbs turned on him. Like looking at Ricky or looking at the factory and saying, don't approach him. Me and him have business. You're getting involved. You don't do that. When I have an issue with someone, I have the issue. I don't need your help and I don't need you helping him. So get out of this. Maybe that's the angle that they take. As I mentioned earlier, the triple threat option, I think, is still there kind of in all out matches, because if Powerhouse Hobbs, you want to look strong and be the man. Ricky Starks, you also want to be strong and, look like he's got a top baby face. Someone has to take the pin. We'll throw Cutie in the factory in there. They'll lose the match. And then we move on. I don't know. That's not that appealing to me. But I think maybe the factory is a stall tactic so that Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs don't touch until All Out. And then we get the match at All Out. That's my only guess there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, so now let's get into in-ring action here. We get an introduction of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as the special guest timekeeper. And then here we go. We get the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, taking on Red Death, the Dragon Slayer, Daniel Garcia, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And this was incredible. This was really, really good. I thought this was... I linked this match in my mind to Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, where the top guy's going to win. But when we're done with this, the guy that lost, he's our guy now. This is our top guy. You know what I mean? So what did you think about this match?
I thought this was good. And AEW has never shied away from long matches on like a Dynamite that go over a course of a couple commercial breaks. That was a bit of a theme. Even on the WWE started to noticeably do that more now due to whatever's going on over there, and more on that later with hashtag tweet the table. But so I think I like that imbalance, right? Like I don't want every match to be a 20-minute barn burner of 4 commercial breaks. But with these two guys, I mean, you can't lose. I mean, we've talked AEW up over the years about not doing the like, oh, we're going to run this match back again. But sometimes you run that match back, right? And they have never overdone it. And I appreciated it here because you're right. This one might have been the best one yet so far.
Yeah. And I also thought it was interesting that the first person to get the victory, because they both came in fresh, right, was Daniel Garcia getting that sleeper on Bryan Danielson. So if you think about it, if you take a step back, Daniel Garcia beat Bryan Danielson back to back. I know we have 2 more falls here out of the 2 out of 3 falls, but if you take this match as a standalone and then the match previous where he made him go unconscious, back-to-back losses.
Two straight victories over him.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. And then now, spoiler alert, we'll move ahead a little bit. Bryan Danielson gets 2 victories on Daniel Garcia to then win the 2 out of 3 falls match. So taking back a step and looking at it from a micro, we're tied 2-2.
Yeah.
You could look at it and say, hey, we got to do another one because we're tied 2-2.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? So after the match, Bryan Danielson says, like, that was great. You're the man. Crowd's going crazy. They're saying this is awesome. Chris Jericho, who was on commentary, walks down and was like, well, this is a great opportunity to punch Bryan Danielson in the neck because I don't like this fucking guy. Whop. And he does that. And he starts kicking him in the gut. And Daniel Garcia grabs him and throws him to the side. It's like, stop. No.
Don't do that, motherfucker. Like.
And now Chris Jericho looks at Daniel Garcia and is like, hey, I know you've said this was your favorite pro wrestler, but like moving forward, is this your guy? And Daniel Garcia had a crisis of conscience here because he's looking back and forth and is saying, Chris Jericho did all these things for me. That's why he's in the JAS. But Bryan Danielson's my favorite, and I liked him, and we just fought, and I like him now. So where does Daniel Garcia go from here?
Hey, listen, all respect to Wheeler Yuta, the correct person for the role of underling in the Blackpool Combat Club, as they call it, was Daniel Garcia. That should have been the call. I think he should be there, but now I'm worried that group's going to be too big and you kind of can't go there now. Or, I don't know, maybe they kick out fucking Cesaro or whatever his name is, right? Claudio, right?
Well, what I'm hoping for is almost a tiered structure of the Blackpool Combat Club, where William Regal is the godfather, the what was it? Shredder, right? Was it Shredder?
Or,
that was the
Splinter.
Yeah. Splinter
Yes.
of the Ninja Turtles, right?
You know how many nerds you just made mad online?
Yeah, whatever. The little rat guy. But then underneath that,
the rat in the fucking Hugh Hefner robe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the old rat, that lived underneath a manhole or whatever it was. But then underneath,
I've had some rats under my manhole. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm fucking saying.
College was rough for you. So then, what I'm thinking is that the second tier, right? So William Regal is at that top tier. The second tier is going to be Claudio, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley. And then maybe this is where they're going to go. This is what my first thought is that Moxley has Yuta, Danielson has Garcia, and then eventually Claudio is going to find someone in Ring of Honor, and that's going to be his. Yeah, they each get a pupil, and they say, like, this is how we train the future. And in time, if you do this, you could have some conflicts within the group. Claudio thinks that Moxley is doing too much deathmatch stuff. That's not the future of wrestling. Then they kind of collide,
Look at you.
That's what I think should happen.
Great solutions.
That's what I would do.
Hire Tom.
And then you could even have a revolt of saying the students think that the teachers are out of touch. And so then it's Garcia, Yuta, and Lee Moriarty, right? Join and say, like, these fucking old guys are out of touch. We're going to kick their ass. And then there you go that way. And then William Regal has to step in. You know what I mean?
Because as much as I like the JAS, the Sammy Guevara 2.0 guys are a good fit. Hager, not, but
Hager's not a good fit in life.
Right. Yeah. And Anna Jay is proving to be Hager's not a good fit for, much of society. Even Anna JAS, right, is fitting in with that. But let's get Daniel Garcia over. If he's got to be in a faction, we've got to like kind of groom him into like the promos and stuff. Blackpool Combat Club all the way. Way fits his character so much better, and just for all appearances, right? For all the eye tests, that's where he belongs.
Yeah, and so the crowd is chanting, "You're a wrestler," right? Because it's sports entertainer versus wrestling.
It's fun.
They're chanting, "You're a wrestler," which is great. And then later on in the show, Jericho has a backstage promo where he says, "Next week, Daniel Garcia, you gotta tell us where your allegiance lies. Is it with us or is it with them?" So next week we're gonna get a decision one way or the other. So I'm interested. I could even see
Batista moment.
He could get his Batista moment, or he could do another swerve. And it was like, you thought I was leaving Jericho? Jericho's the greatest of all time.
Like,
and then he's doubling down.
Sports entertainer. And I mean, hey, why not? Let's go with that too. Fuck it.
Yeah. Wouldn't hate either.
Garcia's firing on all cylinders right now. He's doing great.
Doing awesome. And also in that backstage promo that Jericho's cutting, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat comes back in and he's saying, "Hey, I haven't liked you for 15 years. And Garcia seems like he has the future in the palm of his hand. And if he's going to learn from anyone, it should be Danielson, not you." And Jericho's like, "I hated you too." But then Cool Hand Luke is like, "Hey, I'm going to fucking mess with the old guy."
Throat.
Yeah. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat gives him a good old "how's your father" to the chest. Then get the hell out of here. Cool Hand Luke sells it like he just got shot and then goes off camera. I did like
give
that.
him a "how's your father" to the chest, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's like, "Hey!" Because there was no follow-up to it, right? It was
he
just
almost said, "How's your father?"
How's your father, One thing that I did want to point out, and I saw it on Twitter, I think it was from RJ City, which if you're not following RJ City on Twitter, definitely do so. But during this 2 out of 3
follow us at
match,
Table Show.
and follow us because we live tweet as well. But he pointed out that during this 2 out of 3 falls match, there was a exposed concrete DDT in front of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And he alluded to doing that spot in front of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is like doing a drive-by in front of Jackie O. I thought that was a very funny line. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great, funny line. Credit to RJ City. Check out AEW on YouTube as well. That's a funny series that you should definitely give your time to. RJ City's awesome. Maybe we can get him on the show. RJ City, if you're watching, if you're listening, we'd love to talk to you. We'll drink coffee in our underwear like you do with wrestlers. Do it with the podcasters.
Do that already.
Yeah, we do it all
I do
time.
that already. I'll
It's on
throw
my private
underwear
YouTube
on
channel.
for this.
There you go. There you
Right?
go. Of course.
Yeah.
So
No
now let's
shame.
get back into it.
No shame.
No shame at
No
all.
shame.
There's just censors. That's the only thing you got to worry about.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to get into somewhat of a rushed segment, in my opinion, but it was still fun. We get the Ass Boys versus the Varsity Blondes. And quick start, it's done before you can even sit down. Ass Boys just run through the Varsity Blondes,
they
get
are
the victory.
Straight up shitting on the Varsity Blondes here.
Good.
Right? Yes.
They're
yes,
a
but-
miserable team.
Yes. Yeah.
I have no idea anything about the two of them, right? I've seen some things on Twitter about Brian Pillman Jr. that, hey, I don't agree with. Whatever. Griff Garrison, don't know anything about him.
Nothing.
He looks like he would be a pro wrestler, so I like that he's in AEW, right? But as I've
Looks
said,
like Jungle
plenty
Boy
of-
stunt double.
well, he looks like he loved his junior year of high school. Like, grow up. I don't Varsity Blonde. Who cares? What do you still go? You can't go on Dynamite next week because prom is happening.
Yeah,
Like, what the
unilaterally,
hell?
we hate in America. Everybody hates the person not in high school wearing their high school letter jacket.
And that's what this gimmick is. And so it shouldn't be babyface. I would like it if it was that. If it was the scumbag we always have seen, that when you're at your senior prom, there's some guy named Ramon who graduated 3 years ago who's still showing up to prom. And you're like, dude, didn't you graduate?
If there was
Like,
a more conceited, aggressively obnoxious Al Bundy, for an old guy reference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I thought they had a chance too, because Julia Hart, I don't know her age, but she could have played in high school. Now you're playing with a little bit too serious of tones, because they could have been grooming her, right? Like, that would have been fun. Like, push the envelope. Hey,
I don't know. Maybe fun isn't the right word.
well, I'm saying interesting. It's interesting. WWE's going to TV 14. Let's not forget that all the shit they did with remember when they had one of the headbangers acting like he was banging his mom?
Yep.
Right, they tried that shit. So I'm not saying
Vince and
it's
Stephanie.
above. Well, yeah. So I'm not saying, what I'm saying is it's not above pro wrestling to do this kind of shit. I'll talk to. There's a funny story about that I'll tell you about later.
Okay.
But so anyway.
Yes.
So the
All
Ass
right,
Boys
show's
win.
over. Later. We'll see you guys later.
So the Ass Boys win. Billy Gunn comes in and he's like, this is what I was telling you. This is the stuff that makes a great tag team. Like, I'm proud of you guys. This is great.
This has been the highlight of my career is running with you fellas.
Out comes Stokely Hathaway, and he's just wide-eyed and smiling. Billy Gunn's like, who is this guy?
Is this dork?
And then Fat Ass Boy goes to hit Billy
Ass
Gunn in
Boy
the back.
won?
Ass Boy won. He kind of trips. Did you catch that? He tripped a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they all
It's
missed their spots. They all, yeah.
But then they hit him, and then they're hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And Stokely Hathaway's like, this is great. I love this.
all of this.
And then you hear the music. It's the Acclaimed. They come down. They chase off the Ass Boys. They run into the crowd. And then we get it. Scissor me, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
And we get them back together. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed.
And this is going to be so fun. I mean, we've been asking for this, right? And we're going to get... So, here's the thing, right? Like, I've said the Gun Club should not be the Gun Club. They should be the Ass Boys. But now I think either name is not good if they're trying to distance themselves from...
Well, here's the perfect opportunity, because if they're going to be with Stokely Hathaway is the marketing genius. He could say, from this day forward, they will go by fill in the blank, whatever that new name is. So this is the best opportunity for them to get away from Billy Gunn in both instances, right? Both as a comedy act and as a serious act.
I almost the thing is like the Ass Boys, when you pull that trigger, it's going to be a face run because like we're going to want to cheer that.
Yeah. So save that for down the road. Once this Stokely Hathaway thing runs its course, that's when we have that in our back pocket. Then we could say Billy Gunn.
They get back together. They're the Ass Boys and the Ass
And then the
Man.
Acclaim comes down and they do it. And now we're all back
they give them their seal of approval with the scissors.
Yep. And then we do the
reunion.
Ass Boys. Yeah, the reunion tour. Here's what I was thinking that they should call themselves once they do this. They should do this now, but then once the Ass Boys come back into the fold, they should do this for sure. But right now, moving forward with Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed, it's kind of weird to just say Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed are walking into the ring, right? Because again, Billy Gunn's going to wrestle a handful of times. He's not done. He's jacked. He has aggression. He needs to get it out. He will, right? So you call him the Scissor Club. I'd call them the Scissor Club and just have scissor shirts and sell scissors, not like real scissors, but like scissor merchandise at the arena.
Yeah.
That's where you got to go with Scissor Club. Fuck Bullet Club. Bullet Club kills people. Scissor Club brings people together. Watch how scissors work. They bring them together. Who doesn't love scissors?
Scissors, by definition, split things. They don't bring
not
them together.
By itself. No, not by themselves. Look, it's two individuals.
The scissors come together, but they cut things in half.
So if you're in the Scissor Club, you're in the scissors. Look at that. And then they fit together. Who does? Look how they fit.
I understand how they fit, but I think maybe you're misunderstanding the.
I love it.
But they're just talking about scissors, right?
Yeah, it's scissors. It's an elementary school utensil,
right?
Not utensil, but it's an elementary school object that they use from an early age.
You want to cut my letters open sometimes?
To make crafts.
Yeah,
that's why I'm in the Scissor Club, and that's what you would say. Right. Oh, the Scissor Gun Craft Club. That would be so much fun.
Okay. That's a little out there. I think we
at meet and greets, you bring your scissors, and you can race.
It's not gonna. We're not gonna get through the metal detectors. This isn't gonna work.
No. What I'm saying is, you go through, and instead of the meet and greet, you sit down with the Scissor Club, and you get to cut out your own pair of scissors for that night.
It's great ideas.
Making your own signs.
But I think they'll probably stick with the Acclaimed.
I don't like it. So here's the other side of the coin, though. The Gun Club, the Ass Boys, whatever you want to call them. Now they're with Stokely Hathaway. You also have Ethan Page. You also have Lee Moriarty. What do you make of this group?
I mean, good. None of these people, I think, are doing anything individually that is going to be a whole lot worse off if they go with Stokely Hathaway, right? Like, I just don't. Jury's out on whether or not. I mean, Stokely Hathaway's good, but I mean, what spot on the show are we going to get with these guys that he's guiding around,
Right. I don't think they're going to go into the Blackpool Combat Club spot. Correct. They're not going to be elevated to that. But I feel they're going to get their rhythm. They're going to get their identity formed on Elevation, Dark.
Yeah.
Rampage,
just
maybe a Dynamite.
The more groupings we have, we discussed this last week, and I'm thinking of doing a deeper dive video on one of these, but more high school drama in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And one part of pro wrestling is, no pun intended here, cliques, right? Cliques and how they work with each other and the personal relationship drama that falls in and out of group cliques when we're all in this communal space, right? And so the more of these that we can have, the better opportunities we'll have to have those moments of storytelling. So I'm here for that. And, Stokely Hathaway is great in his role. Like he comes out, he's got a punchable face. You don't want to like him, but he's right a lot of the time. So you're like, fuck this guy, right? Like I love him. I think he speaks well for these people. It's very good.
Well, and on Twitter, immediately after this segment, he tweeted out, I am the ass man. Thought that was interesting. A little shot
Yeah,
at
but
Billy
the
Gunn.
Acclaim with Billy Gunn is going to be, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be
The
everything that
Scissor
the Ass
Club.
Boys weren't, right? What we
Yes.
wanted the Ass Boys to become, the Acclaimed already
Yeah.
are. So this is
Yep.
going to be a great fit.
This is the Scissor Club. Let's do it.
Yeah, you keep trying to push that. It might catch on.
I hope so.
Yeah, it might catch
You're
on.
going to see
Make
a T-shirt.
hashtag.
When that T-shirt happens,
Make a hashtag.
I'm going to buy you one, and you're going to wear it on the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. Episode 400.
All right, so back from commercial, Death Triangle calls out United Empire, and this is standard. Hey, Will Ospreay, Pac heard that you were saying you're the best from England. He disagrees. We're gonna wrestle. That's fine.
Yeah.
Then we get back into the ring.
Kick each other in the face over it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Then we get back into the ring, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry makes his entrance. And he gets on the mic, and he said he wore a shirt that got him in trouble.
Which is
Christian
fun to hear.
is a pussy, right?
Yeah. That's fun to hear because I kind of wondered when I saw the shirt, I was like, you didn't get that cleared beforehand. There's no way they were like, yeah, just go out on national TV.
Yeah.
With the word pussy on your chest.
So Jungle Boy is out here saying, hey, I've tried to get my hands on this guy and take him out. I've tried to punch him and tried to kick him, tried to run him over with the car.
Yep.
And we all cheered that for some reason because murder is
That's
great.
the face thing to do.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And so he says, Christian, you're he's about to say pussy again, but then Christian Cage walks out. And Christian Cage does a complete 180 and is like, hey, what's going on? I think we're all like, we've moved past the point of no return. Luchasaurus is suspended. That's not good. And like, we've said some things. Obviously, you said a lot of hurtful things about me, Jungle Boy. You crossed the line a couple of times. Maybe I did once. But I want to bury the hatchet.
Yeah,
I loved it.
that.
The hypocrisy in the entire promo.
Oh, he's
was
the best.
perfect.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Those little subtleties of Christian are great, right? Like when he's like, he brought family to this. That's something I would never do. And like this one, when he's like, you crossed the line a bunch of times, like I did once. Like it's all okay.
Yeah. So then he says,
Christian
hey,
is one of
Jack,
my top 10 favorites of all time. Love him.
He's great. I love him. But then, so now he says, hey, Jack, he calls him Jack. He says, let's hug this out. Let's come on.
Yeah.
And Jungle Boy starts to really consider it. He's kind of looking around, doing the pro wrestling thing. Like, should I, doing that 1980s Hulk Hogan thing,
What do you guys say over here on this side of the building? Right. Yeah.
And so he goes in for a hug, but psych, does a double leg, and he's punching him. He's punching him. Christian goes out to the outside and then gives him a Kansas City comp punt right to the dick. And then goes, I hated you. I hated you.
Hold
and he
on.
starts
This is
beating
a
him
Kansas
up.
City cunt punt right to the dick.
Worse.
Yeah. No, that's right. Where else would you? Yeah.
Where else would you do this?
Yeah. Where else would you punt a cunt if not in the dick?
Duh. And so then Christian, the real Christian comes out and he's like, I hated you. And he's punching him. But then Jungle Boy returns the favor and he gets the upper hand. And he's thrown his head into the stairs. And then eventually security breaks it up. So it looks like at All Out, we're going to get Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. What do you think about this matchup that will probably happen at the pay-per-view?
I'm excited for that because we're going to get something with Luchasaurus and we're going to find out, why he's still wearing the black. I'm really weighing the idea of naming this episode, Where Else Would You Punt a Cunt? Maybe we'll figure that out later.
But the dick. Where else would you punt the cunt?
But the dick.
But the dick.
Right? That's a long title, but man.
It's worth it.
Wonder if that'll fit in everybody's screen. All right, so, by the way, subscribe to the podcast, you fucks.
Easy. Easy.
You fans?
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
wrong
fans?
F word. I get confused sometimes, right?
All right, so let's get back into it here.
Dyslexia. All right. So, yes, Christian, Jungle Boy. I mean, this was going to come to a head. Where else but All Out? This is one of their biggest, crowd enthusiastic stories that they've had ever, if not, in recent memory. So yeah, this has to happen at All Out, and I like that it might not end at All Out.
I know. I think we're going to get Luchasaurus Jungle Boy out.
We might even get Marco Stunt. I mean, we might.
Ooh, that would be fun. That would be fun. All right, so then back from commercial, FTR and Wardlow cut a promo, and they are like, "Hey, Jay Lethal and the rest of you guys, we'll kick your ass." And then one thing that was interesting is they're saying, like, "Of course we're together. We're the Pinnacle."
Yeah.
And who started the Pinnacle?
MJF.
MJF.
Wardlow looking like he sells insurance on the side over there.
Oh, I know, right? He looks like he's a part-time bouncer at a club that no one goes to.
He's like studying to become a real estate agent.
Yeah, or he's it's his first week at a car dealership.
The best part of that is like he's dressed no differently than I'm dressed right now. Like, sitting there.
Well,
yeah, you know,
yeah.
But in my defense, does Wardlow have a podcast?
I bet you it's called Wardlow's World if he does.
Yeah, the War Dog Cast.
No, it's Wardlow's World.
Wardlow's World.
He's trying to get that over. So here's, I think, where the payoff comes is we're gonna get this 6-man tag. It looks like, again, all roads are leading to All Out. I said I thought the payoff should be Wardlow power bombs Satnam Singh. Now I'll present that to you. Do you think that happens at All Out?
I mean, he said, "I don't give a shit how tall you are. Everybody gets power bombed." Yeah, I think we get that at All Out, and I'm here for it. I'm excited because we're going to be there because we're ballers.
Well, we want to do this for the Spanish Announce Table listeners and viewers because we want to give you a better experience, a firsthand experience from our fun and adventures in Chicago. So that's what we're doing for you is we're going on your behalf to AEW All Out. You're welcome.
One of the quietly better parts of this whole thing too is that Sanjay is continuing to be mad about losing his pencil. Like enraged over losing the pencil, which is great.
I hope that's a spot.
Yeah.
I hope Wardlow like pulls
breaks
it out
the pencil
and breaks it in front of him. Yeah,
spits it at him.
Well, Tim, as we get back into AEW Dynamite, you know what time it is because it's right before the main event. It's the
women's match. We need a graphic.
I mean,
yeah,
that's what we need. The women's match. Because here we go. We get Kylan King. Nailed it. Taking on Toni Storm. And this was paint by numbers. Nothing bad about it. Very good match. Toni Storm wins with her booty bomb. I think she should call it Sweet Cheek Music.
Yes. Sweet Cheek Music.
I think that's what you got to call it. It's so
because if
fun.
She fired up the band,
she smacks her ass.
Yeah, so she should like fire the band and wham! Sweet Cheek Music.
And it's
Sean would sign off on that.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
He would giggle.
And it looks devastating. It's not like it's the people's elbow, which is kind of like silly. I mean, you know, everything in wrestling silly, but this looks like it actually hurts. So I think Sweet Cheek Music is what you need to call it. We'll see if it happens. But Toni Storm wins the match. Thunder Rosa's back there. She doesn't look too enthusiastic. She's like, okay, well, I guess she did win. She's my friend, maybe. I don't know. And then it's announced at All Out, Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa. We got 3 weeks. Hopefully we tell a story here.
Yeah, I think their story is we're a tag team, right? But like this has to come to a head. And I just, when you tell that story, man, you better deliver on this match, right? And I don't doubt that they can or will.
Oh, I think they're going to have a very good match. The match itself, again, 2022, most wrestlers on TV are going to give you a good match. They're other than probably Satnam Singh and Great Khali. And
that's why I say
Hardy.
You better deliver on this match, not because you built up any hype, but because you didn't. And so, like, you better give me the results of the match because I know you can. So you better make it one where I go like, geez, I don't even think they would try that.
So here's the elephant in the room, though, with this, potentially. if you recall, the last time we saw Thunderstorm as a tag team, they lost.
Yeah.
And they lost to Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
All the fire is on Jamie Hayter right now, by the way. Like, that's
right.
That's where we need to be.
And so that's where I think, again, you tell the story, a 4-way match, not a fatal 4-way because no one's going to die, but a 4-way match. Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa. And this is your opportunity to say Jamie Hayter is the leader of this next revolution of women's wrestling in AEW. This is where you could do it. But do you think, those two don't have a dance partner right now at All Out?
Yeah.
So do you think they get added to this, or what's their
I hope
role
so.
in
And
this?
I would run with the Jamie Hayter thing. And she's calling her fans my haters, right? Like, what are you, a hater? Like, be a hater. Yeah. Just right. She have shirts, right? Like,
I would buy that
like,
a million
like
percent.
a hater club, right? Like
1 million.
Get you a PhD, right? Like, I mean, she could just so much, and the crowd is eating out the palm of her hands right now. And
Haterade,
Haterade, all kinds of stuff, right? Anything you've ever done with that ready-made term of hater gets applied to Jamie Hayter, and already has that crowd behind her. I mean, I wouldn't hate it if you told me that, because again, I think like the Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa match is going to be good, but like it would probably be better with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker.
Yes. I hope that's what we get. Right now, again, I don't hate anything about the one-on-one matchup between the two, because I feel like real feelings will come out as we lead into All Out. But let's give it some more juice. Let's give it some more personality. Let's give it some more promo ability. Britt Baker can do that in spades. So that's what I would hope for. But now let's get into it. Here it is, the main event of your AEW Dynamite Game of Thrones themed whatever. Side note, have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
Not a single episode. And you know what? I'm happy and proud of that.
So I tried. I actually tried.
Okay.
My wife was like,
sorry.
hey, she said, I keep hearing about Game of Thrones.
It's supposed to be intricate. It's supposed to have a lot of,
right.
plot lines, a lot of twists and
turns.
turns.
And she said, I want to give it a chance. And I was like, you know what? I'll sit there with you and I'll do it.
Yep.
Right.
She's watched enough wrestling with you. You owed it.
Of course. Right. Yeah. She watched this tonight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's 4 scenes in. There's incest, and this isn't an actual story. Like, we don't have to have that. That's just made up. Someone in their brain made up incest. And I'm just out. That's my ticket to go.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm not doing this. And she's like, why? I was like, there's incest that didn't happen. Like, it's not real. So why did we make that up? Just make them neighbors.
Yeah. Like, why are we?
You know what I mean? It's weird that you thought, what would be interesting? Incest. So I'm not down with that story. So I was out. So anyhow, Game of Thrones, out of here. But some people love it.
This is as close as I've gotten.
Yeah, that's it right there. That was enough for me. Here's my rule of thumb in any show or entertainment that I will consume: book, TV, podcast, whatever. If it did not actually happen and you're not retelling a story of actual facts, and there is fictitious incest, I'm done. I'm out. That's stupid. Why did you make that up? It's horrible. Idiots. Okay, so let's get back into AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
We get Andrade, Dragon Lee, Rush. I'm not going to attempt to say their faction name. It's too hard for me. I don't speak Spanish. Le Faction. And
we don't speak Spanish here on the
what is this?
Spanish announce table.
Hey, we're the table. That's another thing. Let's go to another side quest here. We're not the Spanish announcers.
Yeah, we're not the Spanish announce team.
Yeah, we're the table.
Right. I know the problem is the logo has 2 guys sitting behind the table.
Because that's what happens at the table. 2 guys sit there. Yeah. It's not us.
Yeah.
That's not us. I don't look like that. You don't look like that.
Yeah, we're the Spanish announce table. We're not the Spanish announce team. We are the Spanish announce table. I mean, you are correct.
The table that gets
right.
full destruction in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
Doesn't happen too much anymore.
Yeah.
But we're the table.
Right.
I feel like we should be on Botchamania now. I am the table. But anyhow. So we get Andrade, Dragon Lee, and Roosh taking on the Elite. What is it, the Elite? Because at first it's the Young Bucks, and they come out, they do their thing, and then they hand a note. Brandon Cutler's there, but then they're like, nah, it's not him. Then Brandon Cutler hands a note to the worst ring announcer in wrestling,
Justin Roberts.
There he is. And he does his shtick. This is North Carolina.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
And here comes Kenny Omega. I want your feedback on this, though. Kenny Omega comes back. Don Callis is still with him. Michael, what's his last name? Nakazawa?
Yes.
Is still with him.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So are we getting babyface Kenny Omega? Because Don Callis is still a horrible person, and Nakazawa is still a doofus.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because, I mean, so, not to spoil it, but you flash forward, they do some heel shit at the end, or rather Kenny Omega does, right? And
who does?
They rip the guy's mask off.
No. That's what happened. Andrade and Roosh does that to Dragon
right.
Lee.
Yeah, it was on. All right,
yeah. So we get a good match. Interesting note, another side note, Kenny Omega pulled a Sting and wrestled in a t-shirt all night long. Thought that was interesting. Right?
He's got that shoulder thing. Maybe it's like for that. It's for the brace. Maybe the brace rashes him.
I mean,
yeah, I thought this was a little anticlimactic. The return of Kenny Omega, I thought would have like the crowd was behind it, and the slow roll of figuring out what Justin Roberts was doing, and here he is. Oh my God! But like, I would have thought we would have got some words from Kenny Omega, or we would have got a little more anticipation. Right? It was a bit of a like, oh, okay, it's Kenny Omega, versus I thought that would have been a like lights are out. You know what I mean? Like, or huge surprise kind of a thing. I thought it was a bit odd that we just kind of went, and now.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it's the first round of this trios tournament. I thought you could have told maybe a little bit more interesting of a story that the Young Bucks have Brandon Cutler for the first two rounds, but they keep winning each match by the skin of their teeth. You know, it's all these just like
Cutler's making a few missteps, but they barely like save the day.
Schoolboy get the one.
They're just like, Jesus Christ, Brandon.
God, Cutler, you know, you almost cost us another one. And then Cutler gets hurt in the last match before the finals, doing something
by his own something stupid, right? He runs into the ring post.
Yeah, trips on the bottom rope, blows out his knee, you know. But then they get the win. And then you go into All Out, and the Young Bucks are like, well, who we, and then I would put, this is where AEW could benefit, even though it's a tired trope, but it hasn't been used from AEW. But someone in an Adam Pearce official role, I think would be beneficial for things like that, where you could say the Young Bucks are looking around, oh my God, what do we do? And then they can go to someone and say like, hey, Cutler's hurt. He has a blown out knee. We need a third person. Will you allow us to bring in someone else? And then that authority figure says, yes, whoever you can find tonight, that's who you get. And then Kenny Omega comes out at the pay-per-view, and they become the trios champions at the pay-per-view. But for them to just be like, and it's the first round, because they're going to wrestle a second match, and that's not going to be as special. I think you should have crowned him the champ in the trios championship on his return.
Right.
And then now we get the promo with the gold and the, you know, all the shit. You know what I'm saying? I would have done it that way. But what do I know? I'm not Tony Khan. So yeah, as we mentioned at the very end, Andrade and Roosh beat up Dragon Lee and take his mask off.
Yeah.
And so I talked to you about this before we went live, but yeah, doesn't this make sense? The last time I saw Dragon Lee, he was wrestling one-on-one at a Ring of Honor pay-per-view against Roosh. So, and I know they're brothers, but apparently that would indicate to me maybe they don't like each other. So after they lose a highly contested 3-man match here, Roosh would be like, "You're the stupid brother," and beat him up. And Andrade, he's I'm with Roosh. Like, that's where my allegiance. Yeah, fuck that guy. And so, why would anyone be shocked? And then it happened with like 2 seconds left, and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are like, "Hey," and they're kind of walking to the ring, and then they just go to the fade to black. Go to
I thought the ending was a bit
clunky.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know where we go. I mean, it feels like where we go isn't the heights of where I thought we would take the Kenny Omega return, basically.
Yeah. Because we're going to get a second round match. And what do we do there? It's not going to be the return of Kenny Omega again. So he's just going to be walking out with the Young Bucks this time around. So
yeah, the Young Bucks were like, we were getting this like sympathy face turn for them, but now they're going to be hanging out with Don Callis.
That's the interesting part. I thought Kenny Omega was going to be walking out by himself, and I'm Kenny Omega.
Yeah, but
and the Young Bucks are the baby faces. But he brought, which is still interesting if you wanted to go down this road where, as you said, the Young Bucks going to start hanging out with Don Callis, because the last time they did, Don Callis was slowly getting them to go to the dark side. The Young Bucks mentioned last week to Hangman, "Hey, the best time we had was with you when we're all having fun, just hanging out." Do they start to say, hey, maybe Kenny isn't for us? And Hangman comes back into the picture.
So this is where Hangman maybe sees them hanging out with Don Callis and the thing, and he's like, hey, guys, what? I thought you were done. And now he feels like he's got to save him. But his allegiance is to the Dark Order, but they see him and they're like, "No, man, you should take care of your friend," or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, they're kind of like, "It's fine, it's cool."
But it's not fine.
It's not cool, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
High school drama. Yes. So that's AEW Dynamite. I thought this was a good one. I thought my favorite part was the chaos that Jon Moxley created by just taking out Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling and just going to the ring and saying, "We're doing this." Because as we've mentioned before, we think wrestling is at its best when it's bumping into each other. When the traveling circus is having the lion look at the elephant, and the elephant stomping on the bird, and all that stuff, high school drama kind of stuff, right? So if Jon Moxley and CM Punk legitimately are still not liking each other and wanting to fight, it would make sense that Jon Moxley, the lunatic fringe, would just be like, "This stupid guy, get him out. We're fighting." Here's the other interesting note. I said on my personal Twitter account, "Can't wait. I get to see Moxley and Punk at All Out, unifying the titles." Well, slap my kneecaps and call me Calvin. That ain't going to happen, because next week they're doing the match there. What do you think about the title unification next week on Dynamite?
I mean, yeah, it's a shocker, right? That we're getting that.
Yeah.
Dynamite. I mean, yeah.
So Kata on our Twitter replied to that. I said, "What the hell? They're doing the title unification next week on Dynamite." And he replied saying, "Do you think it might be a time limit draw?" They've relied on that from time to time when they book themselves into a corner. They need a big pop, but they don't want someone to look bad. So, hey, it's a
yeah, that would make sense, because I would think that's happening at All Out ultimately, right?
Who knows? AEW. This is still the most interesting part for me with AEW is they're still so young that they haven't established patterns, except for that the women go before the main event. But other than that, they haven't established patterns of A to B to C. WWE has 60 plus years or whatever it's been, where we know like, oh, okay, so they're going to do this to this, and that's the champion moving forward, right? But AEW, it's such a throw it on the wall, see what sticks. They could have Punk. Oh, they could have Punk win next week. He starts talking shit because he kept saying, "I'm the number one guy. Hangman's not on my level because he's been number 2. Moxley's always been number 3. Eddie, wasn't even the best Eddie I ever wrestled. He gets to Chicago. Who's here for me? All you schmucks. And he gets Chicago to kind of turn a little bit of side eye on him. And then we get MJF.
Oh my God.
Because isn't that the biggest match they can make? As much as we love Jon Moxley, and all credit to Jon Moxley, he is the heart and soul. All the compliments I can think of go to him. But the biggest match is running it back for the title between heel CM Punk and babyface MJF.
Surprise match announced during the show. Who, man, I would love it being there, as we're going to be.
Open challenge?
Because we're ballers. Oh my God. Yeah, what if he even announces that? Look, I already beat Moxley. And I beat all these other people. I'm just going to do an open challenge at All Out.
Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. By the way, God, I hope if he does come out, we change his music, because MJF's music sounds like the villain for Inspector Gadget. Yeah. It's miserable. It's bad. It's one of the rare bad ones that AEW has. So I hope he has something different if it is that what happens. But possibly, right? I don't think that's too far fetched. It's not like thinking John Cena's going to walk out, right? That's never going to happen. But MJF walking out at All Out in Chicago, I mean, that'd be fun.
I'm here for it. I hope that happens so bad. I want that to happen so bad. So bad. Yeah, this is fun. I like how they're building All Out. We've got a few more weeks to get there, but it's exciting where they're heading, and I thought Dynamite was a good show. Unless you've got anything else to wrap it up, we can hit our Tweet the Tables. We want you to join in on the conversation throughout the week, not only live while we simul-stream on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and SpanishAnnounceTable.net. You can chat live on that, but you can also throughout the week just use hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter, and we'll read them right here. And I've got a couple of those, Tom. Now, they're all about WWE, so that's why we saved them here for the end, because we wanted to get through this great Dynamite review that we did. Yeah. And to the WWE's credit, I think it's a little more clear there are some differences being made. As we've said, all that's going to take time and be slow. They're having longer matches. Promos feel a little less scripted, right? Fine, right?
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. So, yeah, like, you know, I am not praising the powers that be for doing a 180 or anything, right? But I think, like, they're clearly like, hey, look, it's stupid. They can't say wrestler, right? Let's get rid of that. It's stupid that they have to practice these lines. Let's get rid of that. Like, fine, right? Like, the easy stuff, they're knocking the low-hanging fruit off, which is fine. That's all anybody should really expect, honestly, at this point. But some folks wanted to talk about some things. And
before we do, can I just say one thing about WWE that I'm still struggling with? Because I've said on this podcast, as long as Vince McMahon is in control, I'm not watching. Now, I have my faults. My Overton window shifts from time to time. Curiosity got the best of me at SummerSlam. I watched it because it was the first event for WWE under Triple H's creative control. So I wanted to see what it looked like. Kind of paint by numbers, still the same kind of thing. No offense to anything, but let's be honest. I still have a hang up that the biggest shareholder of WWE is Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And so it makes me mad that, okay, so creatively, right, it's better. Let's just say it does. Let's say 6 months from now, it's hitting on all cylinders. The evil jerk off is still making the money off of this. Mm-hmm. And that still makes me like, I don't like it. Now, as we've said in the past, I have my hypocrisies. Here's an Apple phone. I don't like how it was made. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to say I'm this saint of, decision-making and all of that, but it still gets under my skin a little bit that we're acting as if because the creative show content is now going to be different, that the company's going to be different. I just don't feel that way because the biggest shareholder is still Vince McMahon and his daughter who makes out with them on TV
Yeah.
is in charge.
Yeah, that's true.
And Nick Khan.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so that's just my little tangent for the week. Let's get into tweet tables.
But in front of the curtain, there are some creative things differently happening. And some of the things are welcomed changes, right? Some people are getting last names again, right? And there's talk of some people changing some characters up. And one of our good longtime friends of the podcast chimes in with a hashtag tweet the table about one of those. It's at the Iceman Forever. He says, Iceman, by the way, where you been, buddy? Miss the Iceman.
He's out. Well, he's out there winning championships.
He is out there winning championships.
Double champ. He's doing all the stuff.
Got a couple belts strapped to his ass every time I see him.
I tell you what, out there kicking ass.
I guess that makes sense. I guess when you're out there
love to see it.
Being a champion, sometimes you don't have time. You know what I mean? To be chiming in on the tweet.
Hey, we're just a little guy in his world.
Sense.
I understand, but we love him. But we love him.
But we do love the Iceman. At the Iceman Forever says, I'd really like to see Nikki Ash go back to Psycho Nikki. Hashtag tweet the table.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, reading the Twitter dirt sheet reports, yada, 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 all that stuff, the superhero thing was her idea.
You're right.
So that's what she pushed for. And so they did it.
Maybe someone can say like, hey, your idea was fun to try, but.
Exactly. I wanted to be blonde in high school, but that would have looked stupid with these eyebrows. So I didn't do it. She did this. It's not good. Go to something else. Go to what works.
Yeah, well, you have to dye the blonde. You have to dye.
No, it would be horrible. Yeah. I know I didn't do it. I thought about it, and people were like, "That's stupid," because there was good people around me.
We didn't even frost the tips. Maybe.
No, look, I got the grays everywhere. I've had these grays.
Oh, that's
since
not
I was
frosted
14.
tips. I got you. Yeah.
No, grays.
They're frosty
now
tips.
We're getting
They're not frosted.
Who are you, Chuck? Why are we getting into this stuff?
My grays are here, right? It's all
yeah.
Right.
Side note, so let's get back into it. What I'm trying to say is, hey, you tried it. It didn't work. Let's get to something that's cool. Crazy Nikki was cool. We didn't get enough of it. Let's get that. Yeah. I agree, Iceman.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, I think there's dirt sheets again. Also, I've heard like the lady who was her partner, Dewdrop, has been like, yo, can we not do the Dewdrop thing now? Right? Like, I'm here for those things, right? Like I said, low-hanging fruit. Let's get all that knocked out of the way and then start weaseling in some better storytelling, right?
Sure.
That's still not quite there yet, right? At Devil Vamp, regular of the show, says Rhonda might be the worst actress on the planet. Seriously, she is worse than an NXT recruit. Can someone please work on her mic skills and acting? Please, dear God. And I'm an atheist. Hashtag tweet the table.
I will say she's been playing this up a little bit as far as doing heelish things in house shows that I've been seeing. For example, there was a tag team match. She stomped on some girl's hand, and then Raquel Rodriguez was on the apron. And so she stomps on her tag team partner's hand, Rodriguez, that is. And then Rhonda does the like back flex thing that Raquel does and like mocks her. And that's Ronda Rousey. Yeah. She's a petty.
Well, I saw one too where
person.
Somebody said like, I asked if we could take a picture and she said no. And she just took my phone and took pictures of herself and then gave it back to her. So like, well, I like too she was like, oh, last time I beat up a ref and I got fined, and she just dumped some money on the table and she was like, fine, let's go. Right?
Well, like, that's a Conor McGregor move, right? Or if you want to go even back farther, the Randy Moss move, right? That's where Straight Cash Homie came from. Well, Randy Moss, how are you going to pay for this fine? Straight cash, homie. Like, they don't care. It's all nonsense to them. So I like that. This is where we need to bring Rhonda, because that is Rhonda. Rhonda's not a nice person. She'll tell you that. I'm not trying to tell secrets here. She's a miserable jerk. Let's have her be that. I bet you she's cool when she is. That's what I want.
I don't know. Doesn't she think the world's flat too or some shit? Like,
so many conspiracies out there on that farm. Tinfoil Hat City. I tell you that much.
All of your MMA folks.
It's CTE City. That's why.
Yeah,
You think they're,
right.
they think they're
that's
thinking
good.
right when they get hit in the head all the time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Why
if
do
they
you think
wouldn't-
so many pro wrestlers are the same? Right? We
Uh.
got all the same weirdos in this bunch too. Bunch of, well, you know what makes sense is that the government's trying to reduce the population.
We have a Jericho for every Rogan.
Yeah, for every you know, Dana White, we have a Chris Jericho. So yeah, no joke.
All right, back to the Iceman. He says, "Where's Robert Roode been?" Hashtag tweet the table. And I don't know, catering?
Who?
Yeah. Glorious. Never heard of her?
Yeah.
No.
My nickname in high school, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. Again, look, we're not telling stories right now in WWE, so bring him back, onto the main stage again as somebody like Robert Roode. Because I know, like, we thrust Dolph back into this, like, hey, let's get him back here working matches and, you know what I mean, doing some barn burners and stuff, and that's fine. But, like, with Robert Roode, like, he needs a story, right? Like, he's good enough at a character work and stuff, but, like, he needs something to go from A to B to C for me to care about, right? And they don't have that right now, so why would you bring Robert Roode back?
Well, I know he did it with Dolph Ziggler already, so it would be a little bit weird to then go to the tag team partner, even though he's had some feuds in between.
Yeah.
But have Braun Breaker beat all of the past NXT champions and start it with Robert Roode.
Yeah. I don't want to see Robert Roode again if we're not bringing back James Storm and doing beer money run.
Well, maybe, but I wouldn't mind the NXT run either. If you bring back the Glorious and all that stuff.
You find him two other lackeys like he had with, right.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind the Braun Breaker goes through the past NXT, because you could do this. You could go Robert Roode back and forth for a couple months. Shinsuke Nakamura, because what the hell is he doing? Let him go down there, do that for a couple months. And then Finn Balor. I mean, you could run the gamut.
Lead all the way up to Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then bring him up to the main roster.
Hashtag hire Tom.
I tell you, it'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fun.
All right, our final tweet the table here, which is WWE theme, is Devil Vamp, and this one is a little odd. He says, "Who the fuck is Hit Row? Is this a fatter version of the Acclaimed? They don't have bars." He said they don't have bars, and one looks boring. Can we just steal the Acclaimed? Hashtag tweet the table. I think Hit Row's been around longer than the Acclaimed, technically, right? I think there was the Hit Makers, but I mean, right now it might seem like that if you hadn't been watching from a while back. Hey, look, Hit Row coming back is fine. But I think you're right. The shtick is being better done by the Acclaimed right now.
Oh, that was great. Caught me off guard. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, Hit Row is cool. Hit Row is definitely unique and a fresh idea in WWE, which has always been stale, stiff, white guy perspective, right? Now, Swerve Strickland's not there. And if I'm being honest with you, I didn't know who the three of those people were before they teamed up with Swerve Strickland. I didn't know who B-Fab or, $50 or whatever. Yeah, whatever the fucking name is. I didn't know any of those people. It was Swerve Strickland that was like, okay, who are these people? And then collectively, I'm not just saying Swerve Strickland was the man and the rest of them sucked. Collectively, they were pretty cool. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult when the in-ring guy that, okay, you did your promo, now you got to wrestle the match. Swerve Strickland was the one that filled that role. It was okay, B-Fab can do a rap. The other guy does look boring. I will agree with Devil Vamp. I don't know.
Shante the Adonis or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know what Carmelo Hayes would be better than him, in my opinion. I don't know either one very well, so maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. But from visually, this other guy just seems boring to me. I just don't know, after you do a couple, we're here to take over, if you're not doing the Acclaim thing where we're pushing the envelope and we're saying,
making jokes about fucking Biden and making jokes
or
about
making the
Pete
jokes
Davidson
about Trump.
Right.
Yeah,
Trump,
and all this stuff, right? Like, If you're not doing that, then you're not doing what AEW is doing.
Then you're not as cool.
Right. So unless you try to do a different spin where you make it more real, because the Acclaimed, for as great as they are very pro wrestling. You know what I mean? They have matching tights. They come out in matching jackets. They always have the song. You know, it's a very pro wrestling act, even though they do push the limits. If Hit Row does something different where one of them walks here, the other one's walking, like, why aren't they walking together? It's because they don't need to walk together. Who walks together? We're not holding hands as we're doing this stuff. Like something that throws a curveball into the presentation. That's the only way they work.
Yeah.
If they're also walking down, if they're also doing a music video and stuff, then yeah, they're fat Acclaimed, as Devil Vamp said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that got me. That was pretty good.
But that's all we got for Tweet the Table. We encourage you to do the same, to chime in, because then you'll catch the things that maybe we didn't talk about or maybe we didn't want to talk about. But then we'll chime in on, and because we want to talk to you, we want to hear what you have to say. And if there's something you want us to chime in on, and we don't know about it, we can't know about it, right? Unless you tell us with hashtag Tweet the Table.
Hey, and we'll try to clip this and maybe post it on our socials, but I also have a challenge for Table Nation, and we'll put this on TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. What do you want to see from us when we go to All Out in Chicago? Are you wanting interview? Are you wanting just what our experience was like? Hashtag Tweet the Table, or respond in the comments to the social media video you're watching right now, and let us know.
Yeah,
that would be fun to get some feedback before we're out there.
And then, we'll just leave you with reminding everyone that all we're asking for in pro wrestling is a little more high school drama.
The Spanish Announce Table. The Spanish Announce Table.